Hey everybody, John here. So I'm going to tell you what I think is going to happen. Today's March 7th. Uh, this virus is no big thing clinically. I think it's going to be the equivalent of the world catching herpes, if you will. I mean, a small percentage of the infected actually die, but they're expecting 70% of the world population to actually get it over the next year and a half. So there's that, clinically speaking. However, I think the ramifications sociologically are much dire. By that I mean, we seem to, as a people, at least as Americans, we seem to have lost our sense of society, and we're not too neighborly to one another. We're not too neighborly to the guy even on the other side of the wire over there. So that's what I think is going to be the downfall of this generation. The fact that we don't meet at church anymore and swap pies, and we're not helping our neighbors mend their roofs and putting up barns and doing all the stuff that they were doing generations before. Everybody's got their own little circling wagon like this. Okay, levity aside. Yeah, I know I just touched my nose. Sue me. Anyway, there's no freight coming. Now we live close to the El Paso Juarez border, and they had an emergency economic summit there a few days ago to discuss what's going to happen to the industries in that area in both communities when stuff runs out. And basically, they're saying that they're going to shutter the factories potentially until fall because there's no raw materials coming into those areas. You can verify this by going to a website called Fleetmon, FLEETMON.com, and that you can search on, show you in live, real time, the freighters and cargo ships that are currently at sea and soon to be in port. And you'll notice if you go to that hassle of going to that website that there's no tonnage in the Pacific Ocean. There's no freight. There's nothing coming from China. China closed down last month. They closed their factories. They told everybody to stay indoors, and that's what happened. And now there's nothing on the boats. That's going to be a problem. And when they were reviewing this economic discussion, this economic meeting the other day on the news, they were saying that massive rolling shortages are to be expected sometime in April. So we'll see if that happens. Now, what else can I tell you? The other thing that isn't really being discussed is the environmental impact of any of this. And the fact of the matter is the Chinese, when they stopped production, had a tremendous reduction in their carbon and CO2 output. Well, some people would turn around and say, yay, this is a great thing. The fact of the matter is we need those particles in the high atmosphere, up there in the stratosphere, to act as a reflector. It's called the global dimming effect, and these are sulfide particles up there, and basically we rely on those now to reflect away a certain degree of solar radiation. A reduction in the particulate content of the atmosphere means that more solar radiation gets through, means that the temperature will rise subsequently. Now the problem is that the Chinese are not reporting how much of a industrial reduction they've experienced, so our climate scientists around the world are unable to accurately model what's coming. But the fact of the matter is there is some degree of temperature rise coming down the pipe. This phenomenon of global dimming can be verified by researching the temperature rise that occurred in September 11th of 2001 when the aircraft in the United States were all grounded. The reduction in particulates put out by those aircraft engines was actually something that was viewable later on in a very small, although permanent increase in temperature as a result of that the temporary grounding. So, yeah, that's what I think. They're predicting a winter without any cold. I think we're going to have trouble with crops. I think people should have been putting their gardens in. I think our chickens are about to roost. have any comments down below, leave them, and we'll see how this goes. John out. Bye.